Hey everyone, Commander Josh Hawkins here, and today we're going to talk about virtual reality in Elite Dangerous. As we talk about some of the different aspects of VR, you'll be watching as I explore the cockpits of several of the smaller ships in Elite Dangerous from a perspective that you just can't see without a virtual reality headset. I'll be getting up from the pilot's seat and taking a close look at everything I can in each of the ships. Stick around and you'll get to see the full interior of the Sidewinder, Eagle, Viper, Hauler, Adder, and just for fun, a Type 6. So you can see just how big the cockpit compares to the smaller ships. Unless you have actually seen Elite Dangerous in VR before, you can't fully appreciate the scale of everything you'll be seeing, but as we look around these ships together, you'll have a much better understanding of it. Now, anyone who's watched my previous videos may already know that I'm no stranger to VR. I've been a gamer my whole life, and back in the 90s I had the opportunity to try out some of the earliest versions of virtual reality. Needless to say that despite how amazing those experiences were in the 1990s, there is absolutely no comparison to this new generation of virtual reality peripherals. I've owned an Oculus DK1 since it was released on Kickstarter, and more recently my wife bought me the Gear VR as well. So I've been fortunate enough to have been able to watch the evolution of virtual reality over the past few years, and just a few days ago I received my Oculus Rift after 6 months of waiting. I probably would have received it a bit sooner, but when the pre-order went live and I saw the price tag, I hesitated for about 5 minutes and really questioned if it was worth it. Even though those 5 minutes cost me a couple of extra months in delay getting it, it really was. Fully worth it. Now, I'm not going to say that VR is perfect, because it's not, but the technology is still really new, and what you can experience with it right now is unlike anything else you've seen before. When I first got the DK1, I brought it to the office for some coworkers to try out, and even though it had a low resolution, everyone was impressed, including people who I thought for sure would be like, "Oh yeah, this sucks." But all it took for them was to try it on and ride a low-resolution virtual roller coaster, and everyone became a believer. Now, more recently, I brought my Gear VR with me to work, and once again, the reactions to VR have been incredible. It's got a greatly improved resolution, it's much more precise and accurate in terms of the sensitivity, and several of my coworkers literally immediately went out and bought one for themselves, and others have been buying them as gifts for family and friends. Unfortunately, the Oculus Rift isn't quite as easy for me to bring to work, and even on my home computer I'm still not running it with the recommended hardware, which Oculus's software is so kind to remind me of every time I put it on now. A nice big message flashes across my screen telling me that my computer just does not meet recommended specifications, but it still works. And it works way better than Oculus's little warning message gives me credit for. In fact, I'm a little surprised at how well it's running, since the truth is I haven't had any issues whatsoever in running everything I've installed in it so far, including Elite Dangerous, which I thought for sure wouldn't work and would be absolutely terrible with my lowly 780 GTX video card. But much to my great surprise and delight, aside from some very minor jitter on planet surfaces and in very high traffic combat zones, it works almost perfectly. I'm currently running Windows 10 Pro 64 with an Intel Core i7-4770K at 3.5 GHz. I have 16 GB of RAM and a 780 GTX. My video card being the only item on that list that doesn't meet the required hardware. Frontier recommends a 980 Ti, and Oculus states that you need a minimum 780 Ti to run VR. I'm assuming that this is because they're trying to ensure the best possible experience so that people don't start going on about how VR made them sick. And motion sickness is a big problem with VR, and running it up with an older card means that you're more likely to experience some type of nausea due to lower frame rates. But I don't get motion sick, and so despite a little jitter here and there, I've been thoroughly enjoying my time in Elite Dangerous with virtual reality. And I already have a new 1080 GTX ordered, which should make everything run buttery smooth. But video cards aside, there is one big negative I've noticed with the Oculus, and this is apparently a problem with the HTC Vive as well. I haven't tried the Vive myself, so I can only tell you that other people have reported the same problem, but both headsets are using Fresnel lenses, which helps reduce the screen door effect seen on the development model headsets, but creates an entirely new problem altogether. The design of the Fresnel lens allows for a larger aperture with a shorter focal length, but the lens itself is made up of a series of concentric circular rings, which results in a type of glare, almost looks like a beam of light coming from light sources that are against a dark background. Now, in Elite Dangerous, most of what you see is against a dark background, so there's a lot of glare flying around your screen. Is it game-breaking? No, but it's annoying sometimes. The areas that I notice it most are the cockpit lights, especially on all the little lights around your flight control stick and throttle. Those lights are pretty much always beaming glare in my eyes. Unfortunately, you can't see it in the video, but it looks kind of like this. This picture is a bit of an exaggeration of the effect, but it gives you an idea of the general appearance of the glare. Most of the time I'm too busy going, wow, this is so cool, to actually care about the glare, but it's always there. Now again, not having tried the HTC Vive, I've been following a lot of VR related news, and it seems that the room scale VR that the Vive offers seem to be a strong buying point for it. I don't know about you, but I have a decent sized computer room, and as I was making this video, I got to test just how good the camera is that came with the Oculus Rift. It had no problem seeing me from around 7 or 8 feet away, and I was moving around in a pretty large area, even going as far as getting right down on the floor to look under the pilot seat a few times. I have the camera placed quite high, so when I was right down on the floor, it lost its tracking a couple of times, which it very quickly gets right back, but I don't know how many games you're going to be playing in VR that will require you to get right down on the floor in a prone position. I was doing it just to see what was under the seat. Aside from that, it seems to have no trouble tracking me in the roughly 8 by 8 foot space I have clear of objects. I'm sure a bigger detection area would be cool, but I don't know how many games would actually require that much space. I think it's safe to say that most VR game developers will try to keep the space requirements to much less than that. And I really prefer the look of the Oculus to the HTC. The Rift is lighter, has less of the screen door effect that has plagued VR for the past years, and just all around, I find it's a better product. If you don't know what the screen door effect is, by the way, it's exactly as it sounds. Because you're looking at magnified pixels, you tend to see the spaces between them, so it creates this visual effect that appears like you're looking at the world through a screen door or window. The virtual reality experience isn't something that can really be described, and despite watching videos like this, you won't ever be able to truly understand what it's like to be in VR without trying it yourself. And it's really, really cool. But there are a lot of good reasons to hold off on buying into virtual reality right now. It's still very new and it's in its infancy stages, so we don't know where it's going to go yet and how the masses will react to its release. Also, the price point is pretty steep if you consider that most people will also need to upgrade their computer in order to run it. But the experience is fully worth it, and there's nothing else out there that even comes close to strapping on an Oculus Rift and being instantly transported into a spaceship that you can travel the galaxy in. Elite Dangerous is, in my opinion, the ultimate virtual reality experience, and even as I record this video, I can't wait to strap that headset back on and fly off into space. If you've watched this far, please click the like button below and make sure to subscribe to my channel to get updated news on my next Elite Dangerous virtual reality videos. Thanks for watching.